Welcome to our System and Organization Controls for Cybersecurity video. In this, we're going to talk about what a SOC for Cyber report is, the risks that it's designed to address, who needs it, and how you go about getting one. But before we get started, just a short disclaimer. The material appearing in this presentation is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as advice of any kind, including, without limitation, legal, accounting, or investment advice. This information is not intended to create and receipt does not constitute a legal relationship, including but not limited to an accountant-client relationship. Although this information may have been prepared by professionals, it should not be a substitute for professional services. If legal, accounting, investment, or other professional advice is required, the services of a professional should be sought. Assurance, tax, and consulting is offered through Moss Adams LLP. Investment advisory is offered through Moss Adams Wealth Advisors LLC. So with that wordy and long disclaimer out of the way, let's talk about SOC for Cyber. So SOC examinations for cybersecurity, really, what's the need for this? Board of directors, audit committees, executive management want to ensure that their organization's names don't appear on the front pages of the big dailies like the Wall Street Journal and New York Times for the wrong reasons. And we've seen a number of large enterprises and organizations appear on those front pages for the wrong reasons, such as EPHI breaches, ransomware attacks, credit card information leaks, and things of that sort. Really, with the changes in our workforce and a remote-first environment that we're all working in, it becomes imperative that the organization adjusts its internal control structure to account for the new risks that are being exposed. What used to be a phone call and a walk down the hallway to have an in-person conversation has now turned into an email, which just means malicious actors such as hackers have one more means and ways of spoofing an email address and trying to extract their pound of flesh. So SOC for Cybersecurity examination tries to provide an independent entity-wide assessment that gives boards, investors, business partners, and other stakeholders confidence in the organization's cybersecurity risk management program. So like I mentioned, changes to the work environment have shifted the risk, and therefore the changes in the internal control environments have to follow. Corporate devices that normally didn't leave the office are now connected through VPN. There's a greater reliance on cloud services, email, and that brings a greater susceptibility to phishing. There's obviously more remote work now, which exposes systems to ransomware and DDoS attacks, and the potential for fraud due to disruption in normal business operations combined with the emotional impact of the pandemic. Matter of fact, the Verizon report continues to highlight the key areas that hackers are trying to exploit, those being cloud infrastructure and web apps and ransomware through social engineering and phishing attacks. And so with those components in mind, how does a SOC for Cyber report get us there? I'm going to hand it over to Mark to kind of walk us through that. Mark, over to you.
Thank you, Raveen. The SOC for Cybersecurity examination may be performed for any type organization, regardless of size, the industry in which it operates. As opposed to the SOC 1 and SOC 2, which are intended only for service organizations, the SOC for Cybersecurity is for any organization, irregardless of whether you're a service organization or not. Scope could be a specific business unit, segment, or function within the entity-wide cybersecurity risk management program, or also within its own independent cybersecurity risk management program, also known as CRMP. The scope can also be specific to a type of information, such as EPHI, or electronic patient health information, or financial services information, or any other type of information for that matter. So there's basically three sections within a SOC for Cybersecurity report. The first section is the management assertion, which is a written assertion about whether the description of the entity's cybersecurity risk management program was presented in accordance with the description criteria. Controls within the program were effective in achieving the entity's cybersecurity objectives based on the control criteria. The second section is the CPA's opinion about whether or not the description of the entity's cybersecurity risk management program was presented in accordance with the cybersecurity description criteria, and then also whether the controls within the cybersecurity risk management program were effective in achieving the entity's cybersecurity objectives based on the control criteria. Then the last section, or the third section, is management's written description, or the narrative, of the entity's cybersecurity risk management program and how it satisfies the chosen cybersecurity framework. So the first step is to determine your organization's cybersecurity framework. So the two most common frameworks are first the NIST, or National Institute of Standards Technology guidelines. And they're generally the industry's golden rule. And there's quite a few security assessments that are based on the different NIST 800 rules. The second one is the AICPA's Trust Service Principles. And those include security, confidentiality, and availability. There are quite a few other frameworks out there that are listed below, and we're more than happy to discuss with you which ones work best for your organization. So what's the call to action? What are the steps to get started? Well, first, you need to understand what the report is, its focus, and the users of the report. Two, you need to assess the benefits to your board, to your senior executives, and to your organization. Communicate and educate your board and executives on what to expect. And then lastly, assess what you have in place and what needs to be put in place in order to complete the examination, i.e., what gaps does your organization have and what needs to be remediated. We appreciate your time in listening to a high level of the SOC for cybersecurity. If you have any questions, feel free to contact Raveen or myself at the contact information listed below.